Still with me is Christopher Viehbacher. He is the CEO of Sanofi. Let's touch on generics versus the original, the patent medicine that comes through. And some say that generics are starting to hamper research. Is that a fair statement to make?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's important for the system. I mean, a company should get a fair return, and then the healthcare system should benefit from that. And at some point, the arrival of generics actually creates the headroom in budgets to finance innovation. I would believe that the length of time companies have with an innovative product is becoming very short, because right now we have to do a lot more safety studies. There are programs to prevent rapid takeoff of use of the product afterwards until the safety is really established. We have to invest an awful lot more in outcome studies, both for people who reimburse medicines as well as for regulatory authorities. So we're having to spend an awful lot more to get a product to market, and the time we have on the market is too short. So I do think we're going to have a look at that. But fundamentally, you know, a lot of people say we have had to change our model, and I do believe we do have to change our model. It starts with research. I don't believe in this model where we put everybody on these tree-lined campuses, keep our scientists in isolation and say, come up with a molecule. The reality is you need a collaborative approach. You need approaches with academic institutions, you need biotech, you need venture capital, you need government in there. And that's one of the reasons we acquired Genzyme, was that we wanted to move to this open innovation approach. And in Cambridge, Massachusetts, you've got Harvard, you've got MIT, you've got Massachusetts General Hospital, you've got Brigham and Women's Hospital, you've got major cancer institutes. There's a whole ecosystem there that's extremely helpful. Genzyme's headquarters is right next door to MIT, for example. And so that collaborative approach is extremely important. Now, the other thing that we have done is said, you know, I'm not going to bet the ranch on research and development. It's just too risky. Innovation will always be at the core of what we do, but I can't have reliable sales and earnings growth, because when a new medicine comes along, it's just not easy to predict. So that's why we've diversified and said what we're actually looking for is providing healthcare solutions. So we're in generics ourselves, we're in consumer health, we're in animal health, we're in vaccines. These are businesses that don't depend so much on patents. They're more sustainable, if you like. And they
can feed through into the research and fund research in a sense.
Exactly right. That provides the cash flow to be able to really take those risks on innovation. The other thing that's a little bit of a nuance in what we're trying to do is go beyond the pill. So this industry is traditionally focused on pills and technology. But people don't want pills, they don't want technology, they want to get better. So what can you do to help someone? So in diabetes, for example, our job is not just to sell you more insulin. It is to actually make sure that you're well controlled on your insulin. Maybe even help you prevent diabetes in the first place. So we're now introducing a blood glucose meter, for example, that fits onto an iPhone. The iPhone, and this item will be sold in an Apple store. We are producing applications. We have the top-selling app in chronic diseases called Go Meals. And we actually can store your glucose data for 30 days. So when you go to the physician, you can show your physician your data. If you're a child and you have a problem with your glucose and you don't want to come in from the playground, we can send an alert to parents to know that their child has a problem with glucose. So MHealth is a whole new and exciting area. But it's very much around how do we help someone with diabetes. So these are some of the model changes that we're doing. It's in research, it's how we customize our business, it's how we finance our business by having these more sustainable franchises.
Which is quite interesting. I mean, when you, if I just sit back and take a look at what you're saying to me and think, okay, people want to get better. Of course people want to get better, but your business is based on the fact that people need to take drugs to get better. And if people are constantly getting better, then does that make your work completely unviable down the line?
When you look at all of the mega trends with the aging population, with people who don't have access to care, I'm not worried about demand for healthcare. However, what I do worry about is, can healthcare systems afford our product? So therefore, yes, our medicines can help people get better, but there's an awful lot can be done to make sure that people don't get sick in the first place. Healthcare systems don't put enough towards prevention. And that's why we have actually become quite active in helping to support, if you take type 2 diabetes, if you were to lose 5 kilos you can cut your risk of type 2 diabetes in half. There's a huge pre-diabetic population, people who haven't been diagnosed yet, people who are in their late 30s, early 40s. These are becoming a huge cost burden to the society. Can we help them? If you have type 2 diabetes, this is a progressive disease. If you don't adequately control it, that can lead to more costly interventions. 100 people a day in America have an amputation because of complications of type 2 diabetes. 60 people go blind. That can be avoided if people are properly helped while they have type 2 diabetes. So that's where you get back into say, we don't want to just be a supplier of pills. We want to be able to provide solutions that can improve outcomes. And this will enable us to work with governments and insurance companies who are footing the bill to make sure that the systems don't explode. Because if the systems don't explode, it's bad for everybody, including us.
Tell us about the research that is going into HIV at this stage. Can we expect any groundbreaking technology to come through?
The Holy Grail is a vaccine. And we actually, as a company, have been experimenting with an HIV vaccine in partnership with the NIH. Study results last year of a trial in Thailand showed that a combination vaccine, for the very first time, showed a level of activity. Now, it's not enough to get approved. It was only 30% over a longer period of time, but 50% in year one. So now we're changing the combination and going back in and testing this. There are a number of other attempts being made to come up with a vaccine, but you have to look at what has changed in HIV. We started off with AZT in the late 80s. Then we went to complicated combinations. Now there's a company that will sell you one pill taken once a day, and we've been able to transform HIV at least into chronic disease. So the best thing now is, I think, prevention. That's a vaccine. There is right here in South Africa programs going on microbicides that might actually help women, for instance, protect themselves against
infection. Do you
infection.
believe that HIV can actually be cured? And how long do you think it's going to take?
I'm not so sure that anyone can predict how long it's going to take to get cured, but we can certainly do a better job of preventing people from getting it.
So that's the big focus for you. Let's also touch, you were talking about research, and I'm quite curious to find out from the moment that you've got your scientists in that room deciding that they want to focus on a specific disease or illness, from the moment that they start that process to the end, how much money actually goes into that effort?
Well, first of all, it's a long period of time. Between someone having a glimmer in their eye and a medicine on the market is anywhere from 12 to 15 years. Forbes recently did a study and said, well, let's just look at how much pharmaceutical companies spent over 10 years and how many medicines. And they're now coming up with billions per medicine. It's very hard because there's a lot of fixed cost and how much do you associate with any one product. It does say that we have to get much better at doing this. This is why this open innovation concept that I was talking about earlier is so important. At the same time, I'll tell you, science has never been more exciting. The extraordinary things that are happening because we can do more personalized medicine. You're looking at regenerative medicine. I believe that over the next 5 years we're going to see some really eye-popping things on science.
So please do tell us what eye-popping things we can expect, and I'm sure give hope to a lot of the people that might be dealing with a rare disease.
Well, you're seeing regenerative medicine that can help, for example, people to almost create an artificial pancreas that generates the hormones they need. You're seeing things with gene therapy. I've seen people with Parkinson's disease treated with stem cells and recovering. A big prize will also be in Alzheimer's disease. We're seeing a lot of new medicines coming along in Alzheimer's that could dramatically change this terrible disease. So there's a lot going on.
Christopher, you're a very busy man because you speak 3 languages. You've been at the helm of the company for many years now, and you also have 3 children and you're married. So please tell us how you create that balance. It seems almost impossible from my end.
Well, I only do 2 things in life, work and family, so I don't really get much chance to play golf or do anything else. We've moved across the Atlantic 5 times, but I'm very happy to see that this hasn't really detrimentally affect our children. It's excited them about the world. Our eldest daughter is currently working as a consultant in Shanghai and speaks fluent Mandarin as well as French and English. I have a second daughter in university in Paris who's just come back from Qatar and is very interested in communication, toured Al Jazeera, participated in the Doha debates, and I've got a son that is equally interested in the world. So, you know, I'm very happy to see this next generation taking a real interest in the world and also being able to think culturally differently and being open to
So you're an overall optimist then, I would think, despite the fact that we keep getting these modern diseases that just keep springing up.
I think you have to be an optimist. Everywhere you turn, in business or if you're a politician, there's problems, right? I mean, there's financial problems, there's technical problems. The whole objective is to overcome those problems, and that's what keeps our world progressing. And I think it's the optimists of this world that do that. I'm a self-admitted optimist.
Optimist. Okay, so just very quickly, also just touch on some of the biggest challenges and successes that you've been dealt throughout your professional career.
Well, I'm pretty proud of where we are with Sanofi. You know, we were facing 3 years ago the deepest and most difficult patent cliff, and I think we've been able to now position the company for growth coming out of that. But I'm equally as proud of the fact that, you know, we have important programs in tuberculosis. We've got an exciting vaccine coming along for dengue. These are things that really make a difference in people's lives, and that's what makes healthcare so interesting. You're not just making any old product. You're really making something that matters to people.
I'll think
that
about
gets
that.
me out of bed every day.
I'll think about that next time I do take something for making me better. Thank you very much, Chris, for joining us.
Great
to
to
have
be
you
with.
on the
Thank
program. That was the CEO of Sanofi, Chris Viehbacher, joining us for Captains of Industry. From me, Eleni Jakas, we'll see you next time.